Have you ever thought that a pious, modest, and praying woman could be distanced from paradise because of just 3 mistakes? Is it possible that a lifetime of worship can be buried under a single moment of disobedience? This video is about 3 such mistakes that millions of women commit unknowingly, but their consequence appears on the day of judgment as divine curse, torment, and deep regret. These are sins the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, directly warned against. So let's understand these 3 dangerous mistakes and adopt the way to avoid them. Because hellfire is very near and paradise is far too precious. So, let's begin in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. First mistake, refusing the husband. When he calls at night, it's the moment when a husband returns home exhausted after a long, tiresome day. He seeks closeness with his wife, but the answer he gets is, "I'm not in the mood, I have a headache," or "I'm busy." The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "If a man calls his wife to his bed and she refuses and he sleeps angry with her, the angels curse her until morning." This is not just the husband's right. It is a form of worship. When a woman continuously rejects her husband's legitimate desire, she is actually planting the seeds of distance, mistrust, and emotional coldness in her home. Many women say, love should be mutual, but Islam teaches that love demands sacrifice, and sometimes smiling despite being tired becomes an act of worship. Today, social media, dramas, and mobile phones have captured the woman's attention, while the husband is left behind. When this gap widens, Shaitan enters, and men begin to incline elsewhere. Then the wife says, "My husband has changed." But the real question is, did you fill the emptiness in his heart? The seriousness of this sin is that the woman is cursed by angels the whole night, and that curse brings unrest in this world and punishment in the hereafter. Second mistake, observing voluntary fasting without the husband's permission. On the surface, it seems virtuous, a nafil fast, an act of worship seeking closeness to Allah. But if the husband is present and hasn't given permission, then this fast may not be accepted. Rather, it may become a sin. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "A woman must not fast, nafil, while her husband is present except with his permission." This means a woman's worship cannot be complete while neglecting her relationship with her husband. He may need her physically or emotionally, and if she is fasting and neglects his right, that worship becomes harmful. Isn't it strange that prayer, fasting, and other acts are for Allah's pleasure, but if done while violating someone's rights, they cease to be acts of worship and become burdens? Islam commands a woman to keep her husband pleased because her home is her paradise or her hell. Voluntary worship is accepted only when obligations are fulfilled, and the husband's right is an obligation. Some women fast on their own, saying, "It's between me and Allah," but they don't realize that Allah has already instructed them to prioritize the husband's rights. A good deed that comes at the cost of disobedience is no longer a good deed. It becomes a test. Third mistake, wearing fragrance. While going outside the house, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Any woman who applies perfume and passes by men so that they smell her fragrance is like an adulteress." This hadith is harsh, but the reality is that Islam prevents a woman from going out adorned because she can become a source of temptation for men. Today, perfumes, sprays, deodorants, and fashion are part of every woman's life. But when that fragrance goes beyond a private space and spreads in the marketplace, office, or public, it becomes a silent fitna. The woman says, "I apply it for myself." But remember, a man's nature is weak. One scent, one moment of attraction, one glance, and hearts start to drift. Islam gives a woman honor, protection, and purity. But that honor remains only when she protects her own presence. If fragrance is for the husband at home, it becomes worship, but if it reaches strangers, it becomes sin. About such women, the Prophet said they are like those inviting toward adultery. And these are not the words of any ordinary man, but of the seal of the prophets, Muhammad, peace be upon him. Though different in nature, all three mistakes lead to one outcome: the anger of Allah. Disobeying the husband, selfish worship, and going out with adornment, all these acts corrupt a woman's character, destroy her spirituality, and endanger her place in paradise. Islam can raise a woman to be a queen in this world and a leader in paradise if she follows divine guidance. Otherwise, the same woman who prays during the day becomes surrounded by curses at night. The same woman who fasts but ignores her husband to please Allah, and the same woman who sells her purity for the glamour of fashion. May Allah protect us and our sisters from these three trials. Ameen. If this message touched your heart, share it and support us. Donation link in description. Subscribe to understand Islam better.